All right, week 2 of load 1. Same movements, it's different volume intensity. So, of course, we're starting off with the overhead press. We got 2 sets of 8 here, 2 sets of 4, and then 2 sets of 1. And then we're gonna go dumbbell seated overhead press. Three by 8, 4x4. Then Smith machine upright row, 4x15. Then C circle raises, 4x15. And tricep table French press, 4x25. And that'll be a workout set. So, like I said, each week for 3 weeks, always gonna be the same exercises, different reps, different scheme. So apply the same type of work. Now last week we did 4x6. We did 2 at 155, 2 at 160. So this time to progress, since we got 2 sets today, I'm doing at 160. Getting 2 more reps, less sets to push. All right, we're on 2x4. I believe. Yeah, I have that 180. So I'm kind of going based off the percentages again. So with 2x4, I did 80% of 225, which is 180. So again, you really don't know your percentages, or you're really not sure what weight to do. It's good based off what you feel comfortable, based on what you can handle, and that's all you really need to do. None of you stress about it more. None of you overcomplicate it. I would say, since Wednesday doing chest, my chest has completely healed up. Because I knew it was like something small tweak on racking it, but hasn't been an issue since then, or since Wednesday. So it's kind of nice. I don't have to really worry too much about the additional pain or the agony going to this workout. So I'm happy about that. Oh, am I overstaking this? Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, I overstaking it. Oh, this is 190. Oh, shit. All right, we ain't gonna really count that set. I fucked myself. That was 190, folks. I was wondering why. Oh, sometimes, again, you have these moments where you're not thinking, you're using autopilot. As I said, sometimes like I'm focused, but at the same time, wasn't really paying attention to the math. Freaking had 190. This day 180. So we'll give it about 2 minutes. We'll reset it. Nothing too crazy. Well, I was like, there's no way this should feel heavy for 4 reps. I was like, there's no way. Then we're gonna do 2 sets of 4 again, but this time with the right weight. Now could mess me up going into my final 2 sets of 1. Who knows? It's gonna be a little bit more troubling, possibility. But I mean, at the end, you just put your mind right into it. Should be no problem. So we got 10 seconds and get the mind right. And sometimes, like, you're gonna have those mix-ups, or you're gonna have those goof ups where you thought you had the right way, but you didn't, or one side feels heavy the other. It's like you're gonna have those mix-ups. Like, it doesn't matter how advanced you are, how long you've been in the gym, you're still gonna have those mix-ups. I saw the first set. So then, was that? Always stick with this way again. Because again, we got 2 sets of 1. Plan on doing 205. It's a little different rack than what you were saying to me before. I did off a squat rack. Again, what I was talking about last week with this rack, there's only 2 options. Either it's forward or lower, or it's further back. So you have to come from here to lift it up. So this is why I'm not a big fan of this rack, because the placement to just get yourself in that position to do overhead is not the most substantial thing to do so. That's why you're gonna see me like have my butt off the seat a little bit so I can get the extra push to get myself in that position so I can perform the set. Now again, that's why it's important to have a spotter, because again, it defeats the purpose of using extra energy to get yourself ready to perform that set. Because again, you try to minimize as much effort and much energy going into the set as possible, so you can perform the set at the highest. Instead of like trying to use half of your energy on racking it, and then you're already fatigued from using it, and you can't perform the set that you want to, because again, you use all your energy in the beginning just to unrack the weight. We get about 20 seconds. Again, we're gonna go another set of 4, because like I said, I didn't count that first set at 190. All right. I might switch up the angle for the last set, 2 sets, because I'm gonna do 205. But we'll see. Here, I just need to lift off. 3, 2, 1. Appreciate it. You're gonna need one more, so I'll come holler. Whew. So, like I was saying earlier, it's not easy to do the set and then lift off, as opposed to you just try and manhandle it by yourself. Because again, like I said last time, it doesn't really matter how much weight can you unrack it. All it's gonna matter at the end is the weight you're doing on that set, how you perform that set. You know, you perform it at the most optimal energy, or you're gonna perform utilizing some of your energy trying to rack it, and then again, based off, again, depends on the squat rack, or depends on the rack, depends on the position your body is in. Because again, like trying to come back here and move it this way, that having like that much weight overhead is not the best option, the best solution for you to do so, because then that's how you get injured. Now, as opposed to if I was on the squat rack, it'd be a little bit more different because I can position myself where I just have to unhook it right there in that position. So there's always a difference. And on top, I mean, unhook it from a higher standpoint versus at 9 degrees, then kind of have press it. So that's why it's like, there's nothing wrong having a body just to lift the weight. Because again, you try and get the most out of the set versus the most unracking the weight. So about 20 seconds, I'm gonna get in my spot again, perform this last set one. All right, 3, 2, 1. Appreciate it, dude. All right, that's it. Again, we had a little hiccup in the middle, going for 190 instead of 180. But we still made up for it. Again, it's a lot easier having spotted. I'm gonna strip this down, set up for a dumbbell overhead press. All right, overhead press, seated dumbbell, 3 sets of 8 and 4x4. So last week we did 8x6. We did 80 for 3 sets. Then we tried 90. We did it for 1, and we failed at 4 and 3. So goal going into this is to do, since we got a couple more reps, I went down a little bit to 70 to perform the 8 reps, and then I'm going to attempt 90s for the 4 sets of 4 to again challenge myself, push myself, and try push more weight at low sets right here. Almost like warming up in a sense again. I mean, they're already warm from the barbell, but kind of like again just reacclimate into it so you can perform the 90s as a stronger suit for 4 reps. So again, like I keep things simple. This is how every time I go to my workouts, I'm able to tweak, adjust, and make it as simple as possible for me to not overthink what I need to do. base again how I'm feeling, because again, low, almost like completed 6 weeks of cutting. Still figuring out how my body's responding to the new cut, to cover calories and things like that. So we're still playing around with it. Again, the goal is just to keep maintaining the muscle as much as we can while we're in the cut until we're not. And then we always can go the opposite direction. And for y'all wondering what my cut's looking like, I have about 3,100 calories, about 265 to 275 grams of protein, about 370 grams of carbs, 55 grams of fat. So that's my cut right now. So my maintenance is kind of around 3,800. So right now I'm in the 700 calorie cut deficit. So, and again, week 6. So I spent about 5 weeks. Did about like a roughly about 500 calorie cut, and kind of stall on the 5th week. So I'm dropping it down a little bit more, down 3,100. But also too, I'm not having any fun foods, cheat meals right now. If I do, I'll just make it myself. If it's like spaghetti, ground beef, I'll find like a good healthy option for marinara sauce, and I'll do that. I'll still stay with my caloric intake, but I'll just have that as a substitution instead of cheat meals. Excuse me. So that's me. My goal is to get down to 235 by November 22nd. That point would be about close to 8 weeks, roughly, and that's the goal. And that's the promise to make myself to hit there. So we're doing anything we can right now. Again, it's only a couple weeks. It's not like I'm doing this for like 8 months where I'm just sacrificing. It's a couple weeks. Get myself to the goal. Once I get there again, maintain it for a little bit longer, and start upping my calories again. The misconception when people go in the cut is the thing, they have to cut all the calories or switch out all the foods, and you really don't necessarily have to do that, because you already know how much you're consuming macros wise. You know what foods are working for your body, knowing your proteins, the carbs, the fats, are you strong well with the body, and you knowing your intensity level of training. Are you really pushing yourself, getting close to failure within 1 to 2 rep range? Are you making sure you're getting your 10K steps, whether that's through walking outside, doing on a treadmill, whatever there is, any form of cardio that you like to do? If you're doing all those things, make sure again, hydration is good, making your sleep is good, making your stress and recovery is good. You do all these things. But now when you go in the deficit, it shouldn't be such a difficult thing to do, because if you've already done all these principles, it should just come right off. Like, you shouldn't have to put yourself in a big deficit. You shouldn't have to switch all these foods to make you lose that weight. If you doing the things you already know you're doing, all you have to do is just tweak the quantity of your caloric intake, increase your activity up a little bit. Basically, if you can do that, that's all it really comes down to in deficit. Those are gonna be fun 4 sets right here. So I'll give you a prime example of what I'm doing. Again, for the past 5 weeks, I'm gonna cut it down about 500 calories. So I'm about the 38 to 3,300. I might switch out a couple foods, meaning I just added fish. Like instead of having like 3 meals of red meat, I took out 1 meal of red meat, added cod into it now, reduced the rice, and just add a little more veggies for me, the shredded lettuce, and I'm still having fruit in my diet. So all I had to do was, because before too, to give you a better picture, is like I was doing 5 ounces of rice in the morning for breakfast. I was doing about 7 ounces, 6 7 ounces for meals 2, and then for meals 4, I was doing about 5 to 6 ounces. So now for meal 2, I'm down to, especially now with 3,100 calories, I'm down to 4 ounces of rice. And for meal 3, I'm down to 3.5 ounces of rice. And for my breakfast, it's down to 3 ounces of rice. So there's nothing special with it. There was nothing complicated about it. All I did was tweak the quantity of what my food source is. Might substitute a little bit. Again, since beef is a little more calories, I went to cod, more protein, less in calories. So that's all you had to do really, is find different foods, different quantities that still reaches your goal. You just have to cut back a little bit on what it is. You don't have to necessarily change out anything. I didn't really change out anything. All I did was just substitute one thing, and I just added a little bit more veggies into it. And what I was doing for the first 5 weeks, I was still having cheat meals. Sometimes I would have done like 2 cheat meals a week. There was one week I did 3, but I was able to still drop weight. Because at the end, like if you have cheat meals where you follow your plan for that day because you had some type of event, yeah, you were just craving that day, or whatever that case is, and you had a cheat meal that day, that's all right. Just go back on your plan the next day. Go back to what your plan says. Go back to what your plan is doing, and just stick with it. Just because you have one off day or because you just have one off meal doesn't necessarily mean that it's the end of the world. All it means is like you just gotta get back on the train. It's just gonna happen. Life's gonna happen. That's just part of the journey. Again, there's no point of killing yourself. There's no point in getting discouraged because you fell off or because you saw the weight gain come back. Those are, when you see the weight gain come back on the scale, it's not necessarily fat. It's impossible to gain because you have to eat 3 times the amount of caloric intake you're doing for like a week or 2 straight before you gain that fat. So when you see the number on the scale increase, factors of increased sodium, increased water retention, increased inflammation, and bloating all play a factor to causing the weight scale to go up a little bit. And you give about yourself about like 48 to 72 hours, that scale will come back down if you're falling to the plan. But if you have a cheat meal, after cheat meal, after cheat meal, you're not going to see that scale go down. Got one more set here. And so for me, I haven't really been new cardio. I haven't stepped on a treadmill for a long time. The only form of cardio I do is my 10K steps. That's what I do. I'll just be walking around. Anything I'll be doing, trying to get my steps in, hitting that 10K. So, because for me, how I look at it is like, yeah, you could do a treadmill and you could get your steps that way. Again, you can get additional 3,000 to 4,000 in those 30 minutes, depending on how fast you're going. Two, depending if you keep that pace the entire time. But it's like once you're done, that's like the only amount of steps you get is like those 3,000 to 4,000, and you only burn those calories for that specific time. And if you were to do the treadmill and then go about the rest of your day just sitting on the couch or not moving, you're not really doing yourself justice of really burning extra calories. With walking, you can take a little 10-15 minute walk, get about 1,000 to 2,000 steps between those 10 to 20 minutes, and you do it sporadically throughout the entire day. So one, you get constant movement from the time you're up to the time you go to bed. Two, you burn calories while you're doing that process. Three, easiest way to do it is like if you do it after you consume a meal. It has a lot of benefit of one, improving digestion, two, push those nutrients faster into what your body needs to do. So there's a lot of benefits just to walking. And it's, again, low taxing too. That's number 4. It's low taxing. It hardly takes any effort to do some walking. So you got the ability to do so. I highly recommend doing it. We got last set here. Yeah, the last part was good. All right, I'm gonna rack these up. You're gonna move. All right, so I messed up in the beginning. I said 3 sets of 15. We only got 3 sets of 12 here. We did 95 to start. We finished 105. We're gonna start 105 and probably go up 115 here. So again, rear delts don't need much. We're just focused on keeping tension from A to B. Make sure we're just getting that pump in the rear delt. And that's all it comes down to it. But guys, like I was explaining earlier, losing weight or trying to get that desired body you want doesn't have to be complicated. Again, if you just master the 6 things I explained earlier, just knowing the foods that respond well with the body, know how much calories and protein you're consuming, knowing resistance training, make sure you do at least 3 to 4 times per work based off your schedule. Make sure you're getting enough water intake and hydration, not just water itself, but electrolytes like sodium, potassium, all those things like that. Making sure you're getting your steps in, stacking your steps at the most. And 6, make sure you're managing your stress and recovery. Because again, those are going to be the most important parts going along your journey. And you keep mastering those 6 things over and over again. And for whatever reason life happens, you fall off, you find now which principle you're lacking, you work on that principle, you master it again, and you figure out which principles you're lacking, resharpen it, master it, and you won't have to worry about trying to find a diet. You won't have to worry about trying to find the best workout. You won't be having to worry about trying to find anything because you already know what you've been doing. You already know what's working. You just have to go back to what the plan was doing. Now, again, the plan might not be the same as what you were doing before, but if you get back into that plan, you got to do the same thing. You got to just find the little things that works for you. And that's all you have to do. Because I used to be in that position before, where yeah, even though I was a person that was rocking abs, but even with me rocking abs, I was still looking like I was 3 months pregnant. So I didn't really like the way I look. And on top of that, I didn't like the way I feel. I didn't like the way I had low energy. I didn't like the way I was tired all the time. I didn't like the way that I couldn't think straight. I was always brain fog. So there's a certain points where in my life where I just said enough is enough. And I was a person, I was doubling my meal. I was having cheat meals maybe 2 or 3 times a week. I was just eating everything, not really knowing the foods, not really tracking. So I might have been eating a lot of food, but I wasn't getting the amount of protein I should have been consuming, just for my body weight back in college. Fast forward when I moved down here, I told myself enough is enough. I was going to work on these things. Now, it wasn't easy because those same negative habits I had in college still play a role when I moved down here. So when I got down here, when I do bulking, I would go through the same process I was doing before. I was having 2 or 3 cheat meals. I was having way too many calories that I needed to consume. I wasn't hitting my protein enough either. So when you try to change those habits, it's not easy because I've been there myself before. It's difficult because you get those cravings. Your body tells you something different, and when you try to change something or get out of your comfort zone, your body doesn't like that. So you have to over and over again tell your body this is what you're trying to do. This is why you're doing this, and this is what you're trying to become. The new version of yourself. So trust me, I understand where you guys are coming from. I'm gonna ship this way off and get set up for circle races. All right, last short exercise. See circle races, 4 sets of 15. I'm not overestimating myself again this. Here at 15 pounds. We did 4 sets of 12 last week. Failed at 10 on the last set. So I probably should have gone down 12s. But we'll see how we go from here. But yeah, like I understand where you guys are coming on. I understand the difficulty part, but it's gonna be difficult. But you have to be willing to change that circumstance. If you want to if you want to become a new version of yourself, if you want to look good in those clothes, if you want to become Jack and tan, if you want to become taking your shirt off or going to anything that you want to feel confident and knowing that you can have the confidence, walk in a room and feel good about yourself. Those old things play a role. So, because even when I compete for bodybuilding, I still apply the same negative habits when I was doing so. I try to push myself up to 255, 260. I try again doing the same thing 2, 3 times a week. Cheat meals. I was again not really. I was tracking, but I was just having the wrong foods going into it. I was doing yogurt again. At the time, yogurt didn't bother me, but I was having yogurt at nighttime. I was having granola. I was kind of like almost like making a nice like dessert snack at night. So it wasn't the best option having that type of meal going right before bed. And I would do Pop Tarts and a protein shake too. So I was doing what I was doing back in college. So could I swap it differently? Could I have it earlier in the day? Could that play a different possibility? By the time I did not know. And at the same time, I wasn't making sure that the foods I was intaking was excuse me, the foods I was trying to intake wasn't the plane or the point of what I was trying to accomplish. So fast forward 3 years now, you know what foods work for me. Even if I have some foods in the picture, I know like what works. Again, like pizzas, burgers, wings, any of those things along those lines that doesn't really bother me. I can have those fun foods, knowing that I won't get much consequence. Now again, if I overexert myself by overconsumption of that, then that's a different story. But if I have like maybe like a large pizza, maybe I have like one burger or two, I know those don't affect me. My shoulders freaking balling out right now. But yeah, guys, it just all comes down to how bad you want it. It all comes down what circumstances you really change. All comes down to do you want that dream outcome that you desire? You know, answer yourself those three questions. And that's what's either gonna keep you doing the same or gonna change you. It's one of those two options. So again, at the end, I'm not asking you to be like me. I'm not asking you to do things like me. All I'm doing is bringing the trials and errors that I got through, my experiences, what's working with me, helping out the best that I can to give you guys some insight, give you guys an idea to not always worry about trying to lose weight, not always trying to worry about what's the next best thing out there, not having that stress of you just trying to figure out what you need to do to get yourself there. More entirely, just you waking up, you look good, you feel good, anything you put on is extravagant, and you just go about your day stress free. Nothing to worry about, you don't have to worry about really, I don't know how much calories you need to consume. You already know what you need to do to get yourself through because you already know those things, you already done all those things. All you need to do is just keep repeating that process over and over again. Yeah. And like I said, next week we'll look at the pump cover after the workouts. Every 3 weeks, that's when the phase ends, and that's what we're gonna look at. How much of change we made in those 3 weeks. Again, I'm not a big guy like you see it every single time because at the end I already know what it looks like. I already know types of pumps I get and things like that. So I really don't necessarily have to check or see if it's developing. I'll let the work do itself. I'll let the work speak for its actions. And every 3 weeks, reassess. Are things improving? Cool. Are things lagging in some areas? Okay, what do we need to work on? And if we're going the opposite direction, then we gotta figure out what the fuck we're doing. But obviously, you don't never want to go option 3. There's always going to be those first 2 options based on, again, how the program's working out for you, how you executing everything, and based off how you making sure you're on your diet 90% of the time moving forward. So that's how you gotta look at it, reassess. Like I said, overestimate. It's what it is now. We get some out of it. I'm gonna set this a pack. Get ready for the last set of exercise with his triceps, and that'll be it.